Welcome into the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast Studios. Hudson with Todd and John on the couch. And this is our numbers. So we'll talk about all things income for this past week. For Dad, for me, and for VO Marketing Pro, our direct email marketing for voiceover talents like you, if you are one.
And stick around because we're going to talk about a new survey that was put out by the National Association of Voice Actors, NAVA. And it's an interesting survey. And so I thought we'd just walk through a few of the points, especially as they relate to income for voiceover and also direct email marketing, because that's what we especially focus on, my business, your business, and VO Marketing Pro. So hang on for that after we do our numbers.
Let's start out, Johnny, with you. VO
All
Marketing
right,
Pro.
so we've got new people joining we got new people joining. So just so that they're aware, usually the end of the month is the busiest time for our database. That the end of it and the beginning. And so the beginning of this week was the start of the new month. So Joe and I we worked on cleaning out the any undeliverables, unsubscribes, additions that Andy, Dad's assistant, has found. Add them to the database and make sure that's ready to go. So we don't send out as many the first. Usually, if the first of the month or around the first of the month starts in the beginning of the week, we don't send out much. So we still received 49 warm responses. We send out a few this week for a few people this week. Joe spreads them out throughout the month for each person so that you get different chances throughout the month to make those emails out to people, to video production companies. So 49, and then 20 auditions.
Wow.
And 6 jobs reported. Mike Praviti.
Nice, Mike.
Kimberly Young. Lanessa Tremblett. Jennifer Keister. Todd Haskell. And Kim Wilson. I believe Kim Wilson will be recording hers this next week, but I guess Joe put it down as a job for this week. So
Add one more. I got a new client this week.
And Dad or Todd got one. What I will say,
just to let you know, that's what I do. Sometimes
seven.
Sometimes they'll say, hey, we want to use your voice for this. And I might not, it might be a session. They'll say, hey, let's do it, Monday. But I'll put it down for the past, because that's when they gave it to me. So just so you know that's not misleading anybody or anything like that.
As I said at the beginning, we have new people, and for the older people that have worked with us for a while, it doesn't hurt as a reminder, and we don't mean to be obsessive about these comments, but just so you're aware that it takes some time for you to start getting warm responses. So if you've just started with us within the last month or two, don't be surprised if you don't get some right off the bat. We're shooting for between 2 to 5%. That 5%'s a high end of
1 to 4,
1 to 4
probably.
Okay.
Yeah, if you get 1 to 2,
and that's
maybe
response
3.
rate. So if you're sending out 100 emails, you might only get 1 or 2 warm responses. Mm-hmm. So just be patient with it. That's a part of the long haul mentality to have that. And it's fine to ask questions anytime. We're willing to answer those questions, but just so that that we're aware that it takes some time. And so don't be surprised if you're sending out emails your first month or two, you don't get a warm response. It can happen that you get a bunch, but it's just all a numbers game. We've talked about that, I know, but we've had some questions about that here and there. And again, we want you to be successful. We want anybody that joins, no matter what level they're at, to be successful. And it's encouraging to get those warm responses right off the bat and see your money working right away. But it takes some time. And it takes even more time to start turning those warm responses that you get into job audition and job opportunities. So just be patient and try to practice that. And we're working at that too, being patient with you. So again, ask any questions you want, but know that isn't surprising to us. If you've been in the first month and you're only sending out 50, not only, but you're sending out 50 to 100 emails, and you're only getting 1 warm response, or you're not getting 1 right off the bat. So they'll come. So
it's not impossible to send out 25 and the person says perfect timing.
Yep.
We're just looking for somebody, and your voice fits it. First, you got to have them open up your email. Then you got to have them press on,
Click on your links.
your links and such, and hear your demo. Then it's got to be them looking for somebody at that point, and then it's got to be that your voice fits it. So there's a lot that has to go on right. But a lot of times they'll take your information. They'll say, "Hey, thanks,
Yes.
appreciate it. We'll keep you in mind." And a lot of times they do. So 2 months down the road, 6 months down the road, then if they like you, they come back, maybe 6 months more. That's how you build a business, recurring clients and new clients, and then more returning clients, and you just continue to go. But it just takes, it's the IRA. I mean, it's the building a retirement fund kind
And
of
as
mentality.
we said too, just because they, the chances are, there are chances as if you only send out a few 25 to 100 emails, there's a chance that you haven't gotten one response, but there are chances that people are keeping you in mind even without responding.
Correct.
We've said that before too.
Yep.
So, just wanted to cross that again. We'll probably bring it up again, but just want to let people know that.
Well, the
that it
reason
takes
you want to
time.
bring it up isn't because you're trying to convince yourself. The reason you bring it up is because somebody like me went through this 10 years ago. And those are questions that you always have every single week, maybe sometimes multiple times in a week, maybe sometimes 5 times a day when you're not getting, and you're saying, why aren't my emails working? Why am I not getting jobs? And go ahead.
You start questioning whether you're the problem, whether it's the talent or something's not right in there. That's not
Maybe my
necessarily,
template's not good. Maybe it's
and
my
that's
voice.
Not necessarily
Maybe
the case. It's not bad to tweak yours from time to time, your template, but it's not a personal attack on you that you're not getting a warm response, or that maybe you're seeing other, you're hearing about the numbers and you're not a part of it possibly. That's not necessarily because of anything you're doing wrong. It's just the game that is direct email marketing. That's why we say stick with it, and you'll start getting some warm responses. And we've seen it at different levels, whether it's 25 emails a month. People that have been with us for over a year, they're starting to see gaining some successes through that. And again, obviously, that we don't guarantee work, but we do say that it just takes time to start getting that stuff. So just hang in there with us, please.
Okay. Mine will be short and sweet. Last week talked about last month. I had a slow month, but I went out with a bang last week to end March, which saved my March. Whatever. And then I was right back to where I was at in March for my start of my April. It wasn't a very good 1-year anniversary for me. I had 3 warm responses, 0 auditions, 0 new clients, 0 jobs from direct email marketing. I had 0 jobs on Upwork, which is
Unusual,
something. Yeah. But Fiverr came strong for me. I made $8.80 this week on Fiverr. And then I did 6 hours of editing for Dad for a grand total of $128.80.
Well, that's case in point.
Yeah.
Just that you've been in it for a year, no, 2 years now?
When I first started voiceover back in April of 2021, it would be, I was kind of hit and miss with sending out emails. I wouldn't say I did a good job probably the first 5-6 months, which it's sad to say, but the last year and a half I've been doing a good job of.
But like you've said, or like you're saying now, is last week was really good. This week is not as good in your mind, and so you could start getting up in arms about it. But
yeah, I've just
it's
been
tough
in it
not to. It's tough not to, but it's part of your understanding more and more. Watching how Dad's gone.
Well, and I've
through
gone
things
so
into it.
far too, and this is something I've got too much into it to give up now. And I'm not saying that that's a great way to look at it, but I'm not going to give up, because it's like, well, if you were to give up, what would that 1.5 years, 2 years of sending out emails? It's just going, it's not going down the drain, but it'd be a waste to stop doing it. Anyway, yeah, it gives me time to. I definitely, like Dad said, have time to think about what I'm doing and stuff like that, and just have to keep, because like we've said in the past, the things I'm doing right now are the same things that have gotten me a $3,000 week. My $8.80 week, I'm doing the same things that I did, and so just there are some things in the works that I have been told. Now maybe those won't come true, but I have those to look forward to. So anyway, keep your head up is what I'm saying.
So I had one new client, and hear me out all the way through this, but Fiverr was $2,052. Fiverr came to the rescue this week because my direct email marketing was down, and that was direct email marketing was an even $3,400. So my month was my week was $5,452. $5,452. Now, if you've been following along, a few weeks ago I had a 10,000, I've had an 8,000. I've been really busy, and when you get to the point where I am in my career, you have these, I have emotions too, because what I can think is I get a week like this where I have some time to breathe. You go like that. But then there's the solopreneur, it's kind of like, and then it's,
You're okay with it for one day.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
And then you're like,
or
all
even
right,
one
come
afternoon.
on,
Then you say, oh
jobs.
no, maybe I've run the game. And this happens to people that have been doing it for my 13th year, and that I have a substantial business and I have a lot of clients. But you can have a slow week at $5,400, and you can want to go, oh, that's so wonderful to have a slow week. I know that's a fast week, a big week for some people, but for me it isn't. And then, but you right away you start to question. I mean, you start to be tempted to flail. It's just a weird thing. It's a really weird thing to be on your own. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the reasons you mentioned hanging in there and not flailing and maybe tweaking a bit, but just having a plan. You mentioned that. You didn't say this, but get a simple plan that works, and then work that plan. And don't quickly say, oh, I got to get a new coach. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. You might need to, but just be easy, because it happens to everybody. And I mean everybody. There isn't anybody in this business that I've ever talked to, and it happens to me.
Yeah,
so
13
that's
years and 2 years and whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got an extra topic for you.
Yeah, we want to spend. Maybe we'll break this into two.
Yeah, and before we start this topic, if you ever have any questions, you want to share your numbers, anything like that, feel free to share them in the comments, or you can email me at hudsonbarsness@yahoo.com. We did have a listener, watcher, whatever you want to call it, viewer, get a hold of us. I won't mention her name, but she sent us some stuff, and so waiting for a response back to her. But if there are topics you'd like us to talk about, feel free to ask, and we'd be happy to give our take on it for you. So here it is.
Why don't what we do is let's just. I don't know how long you want to go with this.
We've got probably 12 minutes that we can.
Okay, why don't we just do this then? And this is the National Association of Voiceover Actors, and I think it's a fairly new organization. I wasn't familiar with it. You might be more familiar with it than I am, but I know that there's been not the gentleman that started this, but a gal. Karen, I think her name is, she was at VO Atlanta and sat on a panel with a woman that makes a lot of money on Fiverr, and then some other people. And it kind of became a little bit of a firestorm, because she didn't come right out and say Fiverr is the devil in disguise. I don't think she's a fan. She's not on it, and she's not a fan of Fiverr. But I think she's willing to say maybe some people can make money in different ways.
Yeah.
So why don't we just talk about this first, and then we'll talk about, and we could just make some observations and things like that, and then we can talk about. I think it's part 4 of this survey, is it part 4, that talks about direct email marketing, because I think that would be especially interesting for us to talk about, and maybe next week we can kind of keep our numbers down.
Yeah.
That portion down, and then we can get more into this and spend like 15, 20 minutes on that. But maybe just as a little teaser for this week, and then for next week, let's do this. This was from NAVA, and it was part 2, and it says, what was your gross income from voiceover in 2021? And it says, please include only income, which I appreciated, only income, because I happened to get on their Facebook and I asked them, because I didn't see that right away, and I asked them, is that voiceover only? Because I thought, some
Is
people.
it coaching or books or
so this is,
demo production?
That's good, because what it shows you is it's not somebody that makes $50,000 in voiceover and $250,000 in coaching, or $75,000 and $150,000. It's just, or demo production. It's just voiceover, and so you can see here. I'll point to this.
Here, I can make it bigger too.
Oh, yeah.
If you
We
want.
got that laser that we play with.
Then I'd be jumping at the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just. Here we go. Look at that. 300.
Bring her down just a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So this first one says I did not earn income from voiceover in 2021, and
0.7%.
Nope.
Oh, is that 0.7%?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, see
My
it
bad.
there,
Yep.
and then there's
My bad.
1.3 is the red.
I think
There we go. Sorry.
no, I'm not sure, Hudson. I think that's this number. I did not earn any. I think that's 10%.
Okay,
And
so then
this 350 is
duh,
the zero.
you're right.
Okay?
Sorry, because that would be ridiculous if
So just an observation.
10% made
10%,
$350,000.
10.1% said they didn't earn any money in income, yet they consider themselves a voiceover. They didn't earn any money. Maybe they're just starting, maybe they're getting training, whatever. But they didn't earn any money. And then the next one is 0 to 2,000, which is 19.2%. So just a little under 20% of the people in all of the survey, which was almost 1,300 people, which is a pretty good sampling, I think, was just a little under 20%. They made $0 to $2,000 for the whole
so
year.
30% of people made $0 to $2,000.
$2,000 or below.
Yeah.
Yep.
$0 to $2,000.
Yep. And then the next is
30%.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, and then the next is 18.4, and that's below $10,000 or below. So add that up quickly. That's 30%. That's
40,
almost
it's almost 50%.
It's almost half of the voiceover talent who reported make less than $10,000 a year, which there was another survey a couple of years ago, maybe a year or so ago, that mirrored this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, wow, this is, you just got the wrong people. This is I think fairly typical. I'll stop there for a second before I go on. Any thoughts?
I haven't
Looked at that.
looked
real
at
close?
this one as much as I looked at the direct
to me,
email
that's
marketing one.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in agreement with what you're saying.
That there's almost half of the voiceover talents on average are making less than 10,000 or less.
Right. Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yep. And then you add this one, that's 10,000 to 20,000, and that's 11.8.
About 60%.
So that's
About 60%.
60%. So 60% make $20,000 or less. Then you go to 20 to 40,000,
me.
and that was Hudson.
No, I was.
Oh, you were in this one.
I was the.
Oh, in
10 to
voiceover.
20.
Yeah, in voiceover
'cause-
alone, because
yeah,
you did
I did
editing for me
editing.
and got
Yeah.
you up to this point,
Yeah,
but that was
that
editing.
doesn't count though.
So you're part of the 60%.
60%
of
yeah.
people in your second year.
Yeah.
Then 11.2 is $40,000 and below, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
And so-
it's just amazing.
About
Yeah.
71%, right?
So 71, almost 75%, almost three quarters of the people make $40,000 or less in voiceover. That's astounding to me. It's shocking to me.
Well, and then it's like almost 90% of voiceover talents make less than $75,000 or
Yeah,
less.
if you add
almost,
that part. Yep.
That's wow.
Right. So then you've got these four, and I don't know why they
That's
didn't put
this
that
right here.
I don't know what
but
percentage is.
it's got to be
around 10,
let's see
9.
here, because that's 2% there. It's about that 0.7. That's
probably about 9 to
3,
10%.
3%, 7. Yeah. So there's if that's
It's about the size of the 10%.
Yeah.
You're at. About.
Yeah. So
maybe like 8, 9,
This
10%.
represents 75 to 150, which is a huge. These last three are really huge blocks of money, because the difference between making 75,000 and 150,000 is that's
lot.
a big difference. So is 150 to 200, which is represented by the 1.3%. Then you
Lime
get down.
green.
What's that?
Lime green,
The lime
yep.
green. Then you get down to this 1.3, 0.7, which is 2%. You're basically 3% here. And and that's where I fit in the last few years.
250
to
to
350. But there's, like I said to Mom on our walk, we were talking about this, and there's a huge difference between 250 and 350. That's a big difference. That's $100,000. That's a lot of clients. It's a lot of work. It's
High-paying jobs.
It's a higher paying jobs, things like that. And then, of course, you have the 350 to 500 and the 500 plus, which is just rarefied air. I mean, it's just, again, you're doing movie trailers. Maybe they're actors, actresses,
A long-term national commercial.
People that do,
Long-
people that do better business than I do are willing to work harder or have better clients.
More talented.
Agent.
More talented, yeah.
Maybe an agent,
Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that that many percentage. And so in one sense, it kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it, for you? I mean, you say, okay, well, I was part of the, 60 percentile?
Makes me feel a little bit better about myself sometimes, like when I have a bad week like I did this week,
right.
to say, I was in that last year. Mm-hmm. So now I'm trying to get to the next, jump to the next one. And I know that's pretty cliche, but that's where I'm at. And to just be able to say, I'm doing all right. Even though
part of this, you're part of the 60%, but which is a good. It's just a nice
comparing myself.
It's a nice way of doing this. Is you're comparing to somebody that's in the 1% range.
Yeah,
and so it's a different. It's two different ball games, which is an interesting follow on things.
It's putting yourself in a mindset that some people might think is you're comparing yourself against somebody that you shouldn't be, but. Not that I'm saying I'm going to make that much money someday, but I'd like to be able to put myself in a position to be able to at some point. So
I don't have all of the answers if I were to be transparent, I don't have all of the answers why I would fit into the 250 to 350. I made $331,000 last year. I don't have all of the answers, but I think there's enough answers there that, like I've said, I think anybody maybe not make that much. I don't know. Maybe make more. I think anybody can do it, but not everyone will, because I think it's more of a mindset. I think it's more of a grinded out business. Kind of it's a marathon. There's a toughness to it, to having business, and to getting up every day. There's a consistency and not being flaky and not flailing. And so, like I said, I think everybody truly has the potential. When I say everybody, almost everybody, but there aren't that many that are going to stick in there and do it. And that's what we keep talking about and you keep talking about. And that's one of the reasons we bring this up, is not say, well, we're gonna make sure that you make that kind of money. No. That's basically a you thing. But what this does is this shows you that there's a lot of people out there trying to push the boulder up the hill, and it's not as easy as it seems.
And the sentiment that I don't even know how many, what is it? 80% of small businesses go out of business. 90% of small businesses are out of business in 5 years.
Yeah.
That just shows you somewhat why.
I just keep thinking, like, for you, Hudson, and for those of you watching, again, what you have to sometimes do is you just have to grind it out, and you have to outlast your competition, because new people will be coming in, obviously, but that's hard to sustain for some people unless you have a partner, husband, wife that gets things for you as far as like benefits and insurance and things like that. But there's a lot of people that try this and it's just hard.
Yeah,
and so they just say, I can't do this. I can't make $2,000. I've got to make more, so I got to go back to corporate America or whatever. And so what you have to do is you have to just keep working that business plan and hang in there and stay tough, and you'll probably outlast the competition.
Yeah, full circle to where we started and what we talked about after the numbers section is, I think it starts with that mentality that we talked about at the beginning is, know that we're an arm of your marketing. We're an arm of your marketing, not the thing that's going to save your business or push along. It's going to be you that needs to do that. But we are here to help, and we want you to be successful. And it's going to take that long haul mentality for that success to stick with it. And a month or two or 200 emails is not going to cut it with direct email marketing.
Yeah, come back, and after you do a hybrid approach and send out. We have one guy I have in mind who sends out, I think, like 300-400 a month, and then we do some for him, and I'll have him come back in 3 years if he hasn't gotten some good traction.
Yep.
I think we'll be reporting good things about him and others that are hanging in there. So. Well, maybe next week we can do that.
Go ahead. Yeah, that was just an overview of this one, and then next week we'll do part 4, which is the other. It's just what it says in there about direct email marketing. So thanks for watching this, and like I said before, if you want to see more of this, you can subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can know when we're posting stuff. We also have a podcast. 53rd episode will be Wednesday. So check that out. And don't forget our open house. So we'll see you then. Take care.